Let's talk about the UAP Disclosure Act, or UAPDA. Currently, it is poised as an amendment, SA 2610, to the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2025. And as we speak, its inclusion in the NDAA for this year is going to begin to hang in the balance. So let's try to understand the process. Typically, the NDAA follows a specific process in both the House and the Senate. Right now, we're talking specifically about the Senate, where amendments like the UAPDA are often included in what's called the manager's package. Let's break this down. The manager's package starts off with a compilation of amendments. So this will be where we see the manager, which is usually the committee chair or the committee chairs, or senior members within the committee, compile a collection of amendments to be added to the NDAA. These are often bipartisan and meant to be less controversial. It then moves on to step 2, the negotiation and selection stage. Before finalizing the package, the manager will negotiate with members and party leadership to ultimately get a collection of amendments that has broad support that will avoid a lengthy floor debate. This is where we are right now, where that manager's package is being finalized and compiled. We then move on to the third stage, which is submission to the floor. Once compiled, the package is submitted to the full Senate as a single bundled amendment. This allows for all of the included amendments to be considered together, which helps to significantly speed up the process. This is what we saw happen last year, where the Intelligence Authorization Act as well as the UAPDA were both included in the manager's package that were voted on the Senate floor together. We do see that the IAA this year is being pushed to be included into this manager's package as well, and we are pushing to make sure that the UAPDA is again included in the manager's package to the submission for the floor vote by the full Senate. The package is usually then debated briefly and then voted on as a whole. If it passes, all of those amendments are then included and incorporated into the Senate's version of the NDAA. Now, the impact on the legislative process by going down this route is pretty obvious, but the idea here is to more efficiently handle numerous amendments at the same time and avoid gridlock by having each individual amendment go to a floor for debate and a vote. However, we are in an election year, and this often can complicate the legislative process. So there are going to be some time constraints and political considerations that will go into the process this year. So there is the potential that we see a different path taken than the one we just walked through, although as of right now, the Senate is going down the path of the manager's package route that we just discussed. We are closely monitoring the situation, so as we proceed, if we do see any changes here, we will update accordingly. But as far as we know to date, the Senate is looking to pursue the exact same process they did last year, which will dictate how the UAPDA will be discussed and negotiated. Now, for what to say when you call your senators, we have included a call script at the link attached below, but you'll start off by introducing yourself. You can mention if you are a constituent. That's going to be really important, and the most valuable calls are going to be to the senators that you are a constituent of. And you're going to explain that you're calling about the UAP Disclosure Act. You can mention the bill number, which is also referenced in the call tool. It is SA 2610. And then you want to emphasize the importance of this act for transparency and national security, and ask if the senator is going to advocate for the inclusion of the UAPDA in the manager's package and support it in the upcoming NDAA vote. That is what you can do when you contact the senators that are going to be available in the call tool at UAP Caucus. Your calls now, today, this week, next week, can make a tangible difference. As we approach the Senate's return to session in September, it's crucial that we are already building the momentum and support for the UAPDA. Before we can worry about the battle with the House for the inclusion of the UAPDA, we have to make sure that the UAPDA is in fact included in the Senate's version of the NDAA. So this is not a hair on fire moment, but some of those additional calls that we can make to push some of the folks over the edge to to make sure that they support the inclusion of the UAPDA in the Senate's version of the NDAA is critically important for us to get to the larger battles as we enter October and November of this year. We'll continue to monitor the situation closely. If the process changes or if we need to pivot our strategy, we'll update you all immediately. We do have some really great contacts now with staffers in the Senate, so we will get a good signal if the process becomes more dynamic because of both the election year dynamics and being behind schedule on normal procedural votes as it is. But remember, your voice matters in this process. Each call, each conversation with a Senate office will bring us one step closer to making sure that we get the UAPDA passed. So for the next 2 weeks, the primary focus is to contact the Senate and those key committee leaders as well as key committee members to ensure that the UAPDA is included in the manager's package and brought to the Senate floor for a vote. And then we will move on to phase 2 as we look to get the House to jump in and support the inclusion of it in the final version of the NDAA to be brought to Biden to be signed into law, hopefully in December of this year.